What if I told you that one man reshaped the world more violently than any ruler before him, and that his legacy still lives in borders, bloodlines, and silence? For centuries, history struggled to decide how to remember Genghis Khan. To some, he was a barbarian who drowned civilizations in blood. To others, a visionary who forged the largest contiguous empire the world has ever known. Both images are true, and neither tells the whole story. Born into obscurity on the harsh Mongolian steppe, Genghis Khan rose in an age where survival depended on loyalty, fear, and force. His campaigns altered trade, warfare, and population patterns across Eurasia. Entire cities vanished, cultures were broken, absorbed, or erased. Yet out of devastation came new connections, new laws, and an empire held together not by walls, but by obedience. This story matters because it reveals how power is built when mercy is optional, and how order can emerge from extreme violence. Genghis Khan did not simply conquer land, he redefined what conquest meant. And once that process began, there was no turning back. Genghis Khan was born as Temujin around 1162 on the Mongolian steppe, a land defined by scarcity, constant movement, and tribal conflict. His early life was marked by instability. After his father was poisoned by a rival clan, Temujin's family was abandoned by their own people and left to survive alone. Hunger, betrayal, and violence were not lessons learned later, they were the foundation of his worldview. The Mongol tribes were deeply fragmented, bound by shifting alliances and cycles of revenge. Leadership was unstable, loyalty conditional. From a young age, Temujin learned that power did not come from lineage alone, but from the ability to command fear and reward loyalty. He gathered followers not through tradition, but through merit, offering protection and shared spoils. This approach quietly undermined the old tribal order. While rivals clung to ancestry, Temujin built something new, a network bound by discipline and survival. At the time, it appeared small and insignificant. Few could have imagined that these beginnings would soon destabilize half the known world.
The decisive transformation came when Temujin was proclaimed Genghis Khan in 1206, recognized as the supreme leader of the Mongols. This moment marked the shift from tribal struggle to imperial ambition. What followed was not a series of raids, but a calculated expansion unlike anything Eurasia had seen. Genghis Khan reorganized Mongol society entirely. Tribes were dismantled and replaced with military units loyal only to him. Laws were codified under the Yasa, enforcing discipline, obedience, and absolute authority. Warfare became systematic. Speed, intelligence, and psychological terror were used as weapons. Cities that resisted were annihilated. Those that surrendered were often spared. This pattern spread fear far ahead of Mongol armies, weakening resistance before battles even began. The destruction of the Khwarezmian Empire demonstrated the irreversible nature of this strategy. Entire urban centers were erased in retaliation for defiance. At this point, the expansion could no longer be contained. The machinery of conquest was in motion, and stopping it would have required the collapse of the system itself.
As the Mongol Empire expanded, violence escalated in scale and organization. Campaigns moved across Central Asia, Persia, and into Eastern Europe. Siege warfare improved rapidly, absorbing engineers and technologies from conquered peoples. Mass killings were used deliberately to prevent rebellion. Warnings were issued in advance. Submission meant survival under Mongol rule. Resistance often meant extermination. This was not chaos, it was policy. The destruction of cities like Nishapur and Merv left lasting demographic scars. Contemporary accounts describe death tolls so high they defy precise measurement. At the same time, Genghis Khan enforced strict discipline among his forces. Looting without permission was punished. Merit was rewarded regardless of origin. Slaves, soldiers, and administrators from conquered lands were integrated into the empire. The contradiction was stark: extreme brutality paired with efficient governance. As trade routes reopened under Mongol control, wealth flowed across Eurasia. But this stability rested on fear. The system functioned because few dared to challenge it, and those who did often disappeared from history entirely.
The human cost of Genghis Khan's conquests was immense. Entire populations were displaced or destroyed. Agricultural systems collapsed. Knowledge was lost along with cities. Modern estimates suggest that tens of millions may have died during the Mongol expansions, though exact numbers remain debated. Psychologically, the impact was enduring. The Mongols became synonymous with terror across continents. Their reputation alone altered political decisions, forcing rulers to choose submission over annihilation. Yet, within the empire, new forms of order emerged. Religious tolerance was enforced. Trade flourished along secured routes. Communication networks connected distant regions. After Genghis Khan's death in 1227, his empire did not collapse. It expanded further under his successors. His methods outlived him. Over time, the violence was reframed, softened, or justified by the stability that followed. In many regions, memory focused on destruction while overlooking governance. History struggled to reconcile these outcomes. The truth remained fragmented, spread across ruins, chronicles, and silence.
Genghis Khan's legacy is not confined to the past. Genetic studies suggest millions today may trace ancestry to his lineage. Trade networks he secured shaped global exchange for centuries. Borders, conflicts, and cultural shifts still echo his campaigns. His story reveals how power can emerge from trauma, how systems built on fear can create order, and how violence can be normalized when it delivers results. Genghis Khan did not rule through myth or divine right. He ruled through structure, discipline, and the certainty of punishment. This is what makes his legacy unsettling. The empire was not an accident, it was engineered. And while the world remembers the destruction, it often forgets how willingly order followed terror. In the end, Genghis Khan stands as a reminder that history's greatest transformations are rarely clean. They are written in survival and silence, long after the screams have faded and the world has moved forward on foundations built by force.